Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would talk about controversial opinions around disability. So some of these you may agree with, some of these you may not, and some of these might be really obvious, but let's just get it all down and then we're all on the same page, do you know what I mean? Okay, so first of all, my number one controversial opinion that a lot of non-disabled people don't agree with is as long as you mean well, it doesn't matter. To me, it's like, of course it matters. You could punch someone in the face, not mean it, but it still hurts. And that's exactly the same with words, with certain phrases, like questions you ask people. Like, to me, it's so clear that, like, of course, if you're not malicious about it, it makes it a little bit better, but it still matters. And, like, it's not just a get out clause to just say whatever you want. Do you know what I mean? So that's something that I've always felt quite passionate about. And I think because the job that I'm in and I do, like, workshops and stuff like that gets called out a lot in my workshops. And it's really hard not to just be like, I don't agree. But I try and do it in a, like, really calm and polite way. But, maybe, like, my opinion will change, but it hasn't. In the 30 years that I've been here, well, 32, it just hasn't changed. And I think when you are someone who gets people's opinions, people's questions, a lot of the time, you probably will have that same opinion. So yes, that is my number one controversial opinion. The second controversial opinion is I don't think parents should say to children, if their child says, Mummy, what's wrong with them? Or, like, why are they like that? I don't think parents should say, why don't you go and ask them? Like, I feel quite strongly about this because I just think when disabled people go outside, like, they shouldn't have to be bombarded with questions. And, like, for me, I've said this before, but for me, I was born with my disability, so it's a part of me and I can just say, well, this is how I was born and this is it. But for a lot of disabled people, more than, people that are born disabled, there's more people that weren't born disabled, basically. And for a lot of people, not everyone, but how they became disabled is very traumatic. So can you imagine saying to someone, go and ask them what the worst day of their life was? I'm sure they'll love to tell it. Like, it's just too much. And I just think, obviously we want to teach children, like, the ways of the world, but I just think teaching children to tell them it's okay to ask personal questions is not the one. So, yeah, I feel quite passionate about that one as well because, I've been asked so many times and I think in the past I felt like I've got to be this, like, angelic disabled person that educates all, and it's actually so tiresome and, like, it has got to me in the end. And now I'm, like, in my 30s, I'm trying to unlearn all this now and be like, I don't have to educate everyone. I do because this is my job and I post videos, but I choose to do this. So yeah, let me know if you agree with that one because I'm trying to protect my peace a lot more now. And the third controversial opinion, I don't really know how to put this, but there's this argument that you can't say anything to disabled people anymore. So a lot of my comments are like, oh, well, we can't win because, if we ignore you, it's bad. And then if we ask you questions, it's bad. And my controversial opinion is that people don't understand what having a normal conversation with a disabled person is. Just saying. Like, I think the fact that we have to overanalyze how we speak to disabled people shows how we're not there yet. Like, just saying hello, how are you? Ain't it nice weather today? What are you up to? Like, not what happened to you. Let me help you with that, even though you might not want it. Like, it's so easy to do a normal thing in a normal conversation. I think my controversial opinion is the standards are so low when it comes to interacting with disabled people that we should just, like, almost like beggars can't be choosers. Like, we should just deal with it because at least we should be grateful. Like, at least we're talking to you. Like, ugh. Like, how dare we have a preference as to whether we want to answer medical conditions or, educate them on my wheelchair or something. Like, I can't think of a fancy way of saying that sentence, but I think it's just like, it shouldn't be controversial to want to exist without letting people treat us weird. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's hard to describe. Thing is, when people say like, oh, we can't do anything, I know that they're not my people, and like, I don't want to really win them over because you kind of filter out the people that you don't want to hang out with anyway. But yeah, it's a very interesting take, and I just think it's a bit silly, really. Like, just say hello, have a conversation that you would with anyone else. And my fourth and final controversial opinion is simple. Do not touch my chair. If you don't know me, and even if you know me, I'm very particular. Like, my chair is part of my body. Yes, it's not, I don't have nerve endings in my chair, but like, I can feel whenever someone touches it, I can feel the vibrations of someone kicking it. And I told a story on my Instagram the other day of how a guy actually climbed over me like I were a literal crate of beer, didn't say excuse me, and just like invaded my space. And I said, sorry, do you need to get by? And he just walked off. And I was just like, I don't think people understand how we can feel everything. And like, it's such an invasion of personal space. And like, I'm quite particular, but I think I've become defensive because I've had to be. But I don't even like friends like putting, ironically, my jumpers on here. But I don't like friends putting their coats on my chair because you end up becoming this like trolley. It heats me up, like I get really hot and bothered because I've got all these coats behind me. And also, you're not a trolley, you're not a rat. I think you can ask and like make sure you've got consent, but it's just like the way that you ask for consent in terms of like hugging or cuddling someone, like you just have to ask. It's quite an intimate thing to be that close to someone. So if like a random stranger does it, honestly, I just start reversing because I just think like that's the only way. Unless I say like, oh, can you not lean on my chair? And usually people get the picture, but if they don't, I'll just go back. So that's a tip. If you're a wheelchair user, just go back and let them fall. I know that's awful, but like, if you've asked and they don't move, so's hun, but that's the next step. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm feeling quite riled today, so I thought this would be a good time to do a little controversial video. But let me know if you agree with any of those, and do you have any controversial opinions around disability or not disability? I would love to know. Let's all have a rant in the comments. Oh, I love a good rant. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!